Hey Ringside crew, welcome to the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. And now here's your host, Joe Panther III.
Hello there, wrestling fans! To another episode, a night edition of the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. I am Joe Panther III. And man, this is the first live edition second live edition of Dudes at Ringside podcast for International Wrestling Month. I have an individual that is on the podcast with me tonight that is originally from Canada. Now he comes from the U.S. Let's give a warm Dudes at Ringside welcome to the one, the only Hellfire McGuire. Welcome back. Welcome to Dudes at Ringside, Hellfire. Welcome.
You're closer to the router. I'm getting an unstable connection.
Yeah, I know. I can see you're buffering. But yeah, we got SummerSlam tonight. I was watching a little bit before. It was a really, really interesting match. It was pretty good. Hey, what's going on? What's going on, my friend? Welcome. My friend. Hellfire will be right there. He'll be back. Yeah.
All right, let's try this spot on for size.
Let's see if it works. Let's give me the shortest. Instead of breaking the record, we'll have the shortest podcast in history. There you go.
It's because it's live. It's because it's the first live, Joe. We wouldn't be running into these problems otherwise.
I know. We would be pre-taping that. We would have done this earlier, like 3 o'clock. Would have been like, yeah. But
that's right. It would be done and dusted.
It happens to me. So Hellfire, welcome to Dudes at Ringside. I think I met you in another universe that I used to do another podcast with a blonde girl, but this one's
it's fuzzy.
Yeah. But no shots on my former co-host. She's a good person. I enjoy her a lot. So, Mr. Hellfire, introduce yourself to my internationally known audience.
Yeah, well, let me start off strong then. My name is Hellfire McGuire, and they say in business, like wrestling, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And so I love introducing myself to people. The name is Hellfire McGuire. I want to be realistic, so I'll say world-class agent, manager, and advocate. Maybe the best the sport's ever seen. I've got a keen eye for talent. I've got a keen eye for individuals who need a little bit of a push, maybe a little bit of advice, devil on their shoulder, if you will. But I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty when the situation calls for it. So I do step into the ring from time to time as well as the managing and cover all my bases that way, I'll say.
So who trained you, Mr. Hellfire?
Sure. So when I was first getting into wrestling, I started at the top of the East Coast and I worked my way down scouting and trying out places to train. And MCW in Joppa, Maryland, about a half an hour north of Baltimore is where I landed. And they taught me to wrestle. They had some great talent. So I've managed some other trainees and guys that they've brought in. Our relationship started there. And yeah, it's brought me all up and down the East Coast, a little bit down to all the way down to Florida, even Puerto Rico, up in Canada. I've been all over the place with it now, and it's going fantastic. I'm about, I guess, 3 years in. So that's, and I can't imagine it's going to slow down.
Awesome. I guess you would say Maryland really much opened your eyes to the independent wrestling scene.
Absolutely. I had really no clue about it. About the ins and outs of it. Certainly, I've been to a couple of shows, but beyond that, really nothing else. So it was great, a great starting point there. Really well connected down there, and they know what they're doing. I mean, the shows are excellent. The crowds are growing. So fantastic place to start.
I've heard a lot of good things about MCW and their fans and the roster. Like, do you ever feel like from when you started to now that you think that the crowds have reacted to you like differently than they did when you first debuted in there?
I'll say certainly. Oh yeah, we so this is a long story, but I'm happy to get into it with you.
We got time.
When I first started down there,
on and I gotta run. Just joking.
Yeah. When I first started down there, I was managing a gentleman by the name of Miami Mike Walker. And he hadn't really made a name for himself at that point. He was just kind of starting to pick things up. And it wasn't until I got with him that he really hit sort of their main event level and started winning titles. The success started coming. So yeah, I will say certainly at the beginning, no one had any idea who I was. And the reaction was more of a non-reaction. But as things have progressed and I've become more successful and more well known, the reaction is certainly varied in terms of tone, but it's much louder than it used to be.
Awesome. Has there any thoughts of anywhere else in the country that you would like to spread your wings to that you have not been to yet, Mr.?
That's good. That's good. Flamingo in flight, spread the wings. You know what you're doing on this podcast, Joe. I like this. Well, I think, I feel like the East has been sort of conquered. So there's only one place to go, and that's West. So, we've kind of in my travels and in my opportunities for networking, I've talked to some folks out in Texas and a little bit in California, some in Kentucky. So we'll see. Tennessee also. So that, we've got some options for expansion. And one of those will be the next stop. It's just a matter of who gets me first.
Like, there's a lot of places out there like OVW. Have you been trying to like look into those guys too? Because they so many rising stars. You never know.
Absolutely.
See you, because OVW used to be part of the WWE like tree. So like,
sure.
Have you ever thought of trying to get in there? I know it's hard because someone has to get a business card. You know what I mean? Oh
yeah. Oh, definitely. Well, and now with the WWE ID thing, right? It's even tougher to get into these places that are kind of within the system. But yeah, OVW is certainly on the list. I'm happy to take their call. I'm a businessman. It doesn't if it feels right and the money's right, I'll be there.
Awesome. So when it comes to like your training, like what's it normal like? What's a normal day in the life of Hellfire when it comes to training?
Sure. So I am not an early riser. A lot of people will tell you the early bird gets the worm. I'm more of a second mouse gets the cheese type of man. So I think patience is key. I do not wake up early, Joe. 10 o'clock, I'm upset if I'm opening my eyes at that point. But pretty well immediately after that, shake off whatever's left of the hangover and hit the gym. And I do try to stay pretty consistent now that I'm in the ring a little bit more regularly. So that is step one. And then after that, kind of see where the day takes me. If it's a training day, I'll be doing a little bit of traveling one way or the other. MCW is, of course, my regular spot, but I do like to kind of float around and see if there are other options. I've been up to Catch Point a few times. They have just a fantastic program up there. And it's been a while since I've been there, but now they're putting on more shows. They're really growing. So that is a place I'll have to get back to. But as far as an average day between the gym and the training, it's answering emails, writing emails, making calls, doing whatever I can to keep the wheels rolling, and making sure that there's something always coming down the pike for me.
Awesome. So when it comes to your travel, do you ever try to have to travel like the day before you get to that venue? Or do you just like try to make it and win one day?
Yeah. Well, it really depends on how the schedule looks. That's kind of how I make those decisions typically. Typically on any given weekend, we're doing some kind of double shot. I've got to be in at least a couple of places. So that limits me from, showing up a day before. But if I can, and it's a nice enough town, and most of these towns are nice enough, despite the people I have to run into. Most of the towns are nice enough, and I can get away with spending a day finding a nice, quiet place for a drink, something like that. So I do enjoy kind of making the most of things, and I think a lot of people sort of lose that as they're going up and down the roads. It's you can make a good time out of anything. I find there's hidden gems in these crap hole towns that you'll find if you're there enough, and then you become a regular and things are good, and then suddenly I've got this little network of places I can stop in, and that certainly makes the travel portion easier.
With your wardrobe, the shirts and stuff like that you wear to your shows, is there ever like a time that you're like the girl from Clueless, I can't have nothing to wear? Like you ever have to plan it that you go to this place and you're like, oh gosh, I got to go to a Marshall's or I got to go to a Walmart to look for my brightly colored clothes? Or do you ever have a story is like you can't find what to wear?
Okay, well, so let's start here, because if I'm being honest, I'm a little bit offended that you think Marshall's is the stop for Hellfire McGuire, because that's just not the case. Everything I'm wearing, including this right now, is strictly European. I get a little mixed up myself between Milan, Prague, and some of these other places that I'm getting stuff from, but I promise you it's European. As for the problem of never having something to wear, that's not something I've run into. I'm more spoiled for choice. If it's a management sort of gig that I'm traveling for, that makes it a little bit easier, because I like to match my guys. I like to make sure that their brand is strong, and then by extension, my brand's going to be strong, and everybody's going to make money. So yeah, definitely not running into an absence of options by any stretch.
But also, like you said, like get a drink or whatever. Is there ever like a particular place in a town that you want to talk about that you like? You went there and you couldn't find anything? Is there any towns that you just want to go, man, that place needs to get an upgrade?
I don't like to insult entire towns specifically. I'm not trying to name names, because I have to go back to these places for the most part. But there's definitely some places. If I have to throw someone under the bus, it's going to be Deer Park, New York, and it's not their fault. I'm going to keep my mouth shut on that one. You're only at one strike. I'll give you time.
The only thing good there is that Mexican restaurant that's there. That's it.
Hey, that's a good spot. Okay, so you're all right. You're back on my good list. But that is definitely one with. There's not a lot good up there. Fortunately, it's on the way to the Hamptons, so it's just a little bit away from someplace a little more palatable.
Yeah. Well, in Milford, PA, there's actually some good gems there, the Dimmick and places like that are fancier,
Oh, okay. I'll have to get you to write those down for me.
The Dimmick, and we have a really small Mexican restaurant that's kind of like a hole in the wall. That's a hidden gem called Tequila
that makes it hidden. Yeah.
And the name
there we go.
Tequila Sunrise. So
that's okay. So I've got an order going in. That's perfect.
And the fresh tacos, you get like 3 tacos and you get a bunch of meat. Oh yeah, river of meat. Mm-hmm.
Okay, you do make it sound very good. I will have to swing by.
I'm a foodie. I'll go there and I have to taste test. That's why I work in a kitchen and I'm trying to get rid of this round belly, but it's like
well, okay, maybe that's the secret.
Managers. You have to train me. See, I even wore the nice shirt for you today, Hellfire. I wore a nice polo.
You're stepping up your game from last time. Certainly, it's got a ways to go, but I guess that's where the training comes in.
I got this one when I was in the Carolinas. I thought my mom.
That's the problem with it right there.
Adorable. I was like, okay, I'll wear it.
Well, I'd hate to insult your mother's taste on your own podcast, but we may get there.
She's learning. I teach her. She watched the end of SummerSlam yesterday and critiqued the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Oh, is that right? Okay, so she's got a knack for the business.
Yes. Well,
Excellent.
She's married and has a child, 2 children with somebody that was in wrestling. So.
Oh, that's right. Of course. It's natural.
Yeah. She kind of said that the Money in the Bank briefcase is a waste of time.
I'm sure the rest of the critics would beg to differ with her on that point. But if she sees something that they're not seeing, maybe, sometimes it takes fresh eyes.
She thought it was she's like, well, it's wrestling. And I'm like, Mom, glad you're not on the podcast with me tonight. You would have been canceled.
Yeah, that opinion might not go over well. Although you want hits, the controversy is, well, what do they say? There's no such thing as bad publicity.
Yeah. Did you actually get a chance to watch night one of SummerSlam?
I haven't. I've been on a bit of a sabbatical up here. I had a nicer background, just worse internet connection. But I'm in the office of this residence. I like to go to a little bit for some rest, relaxation, a little bit of a detox. Just get feeling good before I get back into it. But I will catch myself up on SummerSlam.
Yeah. When it comes to like your match prep, when you have to get in there and throw it down, do you ever have to like research on the person, or does someone give you information about the guy before you even step in the ring?
Oh no, that's on me. I do prefer to do my own scouting. If there's one thing I prefer to do myself, it's that. And, fortunately, with the internet today, it's very easy to do. Everyone's on YouTube. Everyone's got match clips up. They're on. It's crazy to me that people are on their Instagram just giving away all their secrets. Like, I can see what you're going to try to do to me in there, and I can work to avoid it. So yeah, that's certainly something I prefer to do on my own. But that is where I've been able to find most of my advantage, right? Like that's how I get most of my clients, is through the scouting. That's how I get most of my wins, is because I already know what this guy's going to try on me. That's very important to me. And if I had to sort of whittle down my skill set to a couple maybe broader or specialties, that would certainly be one of them.
And that's tying into my question. Have you ever looked at somebody like a male or female wrestler that you want to work with, but they just don't have that full like edge yet, and then you think you want to step up and approach them to give them the contract for you, and then you go, they're not ready.
Yeah, that's certainly less as I was starting out, because I wanted to get my hands on as many clients that I thought I could do something with as possible. And so I'm not afraid to take a chance. If I guess the important thing for me is maybe if I'm able to identify what they're missing, then I feel like that I can help them with it. You know what I mean? It's the tougher ones are the guys who seem to have it all figured out, or girls who seem to have it all figured out, and it's just not connecting for whatever reason, or they're just not finding that success. And it's not that I can't help them, because I'll certainly say I can help anyone. I could make anybody better, Joe. But I've never completely written somebody off. If there's something I think I can do for them, I'll take a stab, even if it looks like a long shot. They call it a diamond in the rough for a reason. You got to get into the rough to find those.
Yeah, that's totally 100% right. So is there any wrestlers right now on the scene of like this East Coast like scene of wrestling? Is there anybody that you have your eye on right now that you want to talk about tonight, or is that top secret and I'll back up?
I do like to keep most of that to myself, but I will I'm happy to talk to you about a couple of guys that I've run into and at least had a conversation with or an interaction with, and it's not going to happen, but they're doing their own thing and they're doing good stuff. I've gotten to work closely with Love Doug recently. That guy's doing great work. And TJ Crawford, they've got a tag. Fantastic wrestlers. I don't know that they're going to get the Hellfire McGuire rub, but great guys to look at. I'll keep my eye on them. But they're certainly not the top of my list. The top I will keep secret. But yeah, things are, the East Coast is a fantastic hotbed, and just the way that wrestling is now and how hot and popular it is, it's only growing and it's only getting better. Sure, there's more guys and that means more bad guys, but the cream always rises to the top, as was once famously said, I do believe. Mm-hmm.
You said before a name that's been on in another universe, and I worked with him. it came my reporter heard the name and he kind of jotted it down and said it in my ear. With you and Miami Mike, what happened? Did you guys fall out? Was it something with Vinny did? Was it what happened?
No, it was all Miami Mike. It was all Miami Mike. He's his own worst enemy. I'll say that about him. He's and I did my best to work on this with him. I promise you. But there's some things you just can't reach some people on some things, you know. And he had a habit of trying to steal the spotlight. And as my client, it's my job to make sure that he is in that spotlight, right? And he's getting the proper looks, he's getting the proper opportunities, and finding success with those opportunities. And the problem arose when it came to it was Hellfire McGuire's time to get a little bit, right? And I don't need a lot. I'm not trying to eat off his plate or anything like that. But when it's my time to shine, it's my time to shine. And I was finding a little bit of success in the ring. You know, training was going well. I was in the best shape of my life, still am, but it was worse then. You understand? And he just couldn't cope with that. Whether he realized it or not, he was constantly stepping on my toes. He's getting himself involved in my matches. And it came down to this, Joe. It came down to this. We had a bit of a rivalry with a man known as the Mecca, Brian Johnson. You might be familiar with him. His PPW days. I'm sure you've seen him around. He's on TNA now. Things are going really well, and I'm happy to get into that with you as well. But we had a bit of a rivalry with the Mecca, and it came down to a match where the stipulation was if Miami Mike lost, I had to take 10 lashes with a belt from the Mecca. And if the Mecca lost, he would take 10 lashes. And that was the stipulation. And when it came down to it, Miami Mike couldn't get it done and he lost. And even in that moment, Joe, where all I had to do, my entire responsibility, if you can even call it a moment in the sun, was taking these lashes with the belt from the Mecca, he couldn't let me do it. He had to be the hero. He had to step in and take those lashes for himself. And before it got to the end of those lashes, it got to the 10th, and I had an inkling that this was going to be the last straw, but it was really in that moment that I decided for sure. Because it's tough to end a relationship like that. You know, we did have a lot of success together. And yeah, that was when I decided I had to make a change. And anyway, the Mecca is the manifestation of that change. And that's my new centerpiece. And God, I could talk your ear off about how good this guy is at wrestling. He's one, and he'll tell you himself, he's one freaking incredible professional wrestler, and that is
he's a great wrestler. He hates the fans. That's number one. If you're where you are, you don't need the fans. You're just your own man.
Yeah, he's misunderstood in that way, Joe. I'm telling you, it's not his fault. They started it. He's out there trying to do a job, and they didn't like how it was getting done, but it was getting done.
If any of my fans want to pick up any of your merch or anything like that, is there anything where they could find it? You have any merch or anything like that yet?
You know, not at the moment, Joe, and it's that we can also blame on Miami Mike, because I had merch and it was selling like crazy, and then suddenly no one wants it. So there isn't anything on the market right now, and it's not that I couldn't sell it if I wanted to. It's because they don't deserve it. They don't deserve it. So maybe if that comes around someday and I feel like they've done enough in the way of retribution, then maybe we'll get back to some merch.
If my fans want to follow you on social media, how can they find you?
Certainly. I'm at Hellfire McGuire everywhere. And that is McGuire. That's where you'll find me.
Awesome. Is there any other shows that you want to promote before we go?
I think the next thing we've got coming up is going to be Bruiser Strong, MCW. It's mid-September. I might screw up the date. I would guess it. Yeah, you know what? I won't even guess. If you find me, you'll be able to find them. You'll be able to find the date, and then come down and see it, because it is going to be a heck of a show. We do the Bruiser Strong Rumble, which is 11 men. And it starts out as an over-the-top rope battle royal, and then once the heavyweight champion comes in at number 11, it changes to pinfall and submission. So that one's always a blast. And you know what? I'm feeling pretty good about some tag team stuff I think we have going. So yeah, you will want to catch that one. That's maybe all I'll give you on that.
Awesome. Before we go, if there was any kids that want to get in the business like you did, what kind of advice would you have for them?
I guess the best advice I could give them is hope and pray that you don't run into Hellfire McGuire. That's about all. If you start with the training and it goes well, maybe send me some tape and I'll look at you if I have time. But for the most part, if we're coming up against each other, that's not a place you want to be, and that'll about be the end of your career. So I would avoid it.
Yeah. So Hellfire, I want to thank you so much for coming on Dudes at Ringside. Thank you for helping me do International Wrestling Month, and it's so International Wrestling Month. I am Joe Panther III.
And I'm Hellfire McGuire, the Flamingo in Flight.
And we will catch you in the next one.